This photo story is one of my last projects as a student at App State. People in the electronic media and broadcast program who came before me have always said, if you're not slammed at the end of your time here, you're missing something. This was scary back when I was a freshman, but now that I'm here and working on one project or another all day, it's honestly not so bad. Of course, if you had dumped all this work on me as a freshman, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. The following pictures were taken on the day of my last shoot for my last episode of Up Late App State, the sketch comedy show I produced for App TV. My day started well before I was supposed to be on set because, naturally, I had to do some work for another project. I needed to record sounds from a hiking trail for my advanced audio production final, so I got up at 7 and drove to Rough Ridge. The hike in wasn't bad at all. While it's a ton of uphill trekking, the trail is still super accessible. Before long, I was on the mountain and recording footsteps and branches and everything else I needed. When I got to the first overlook, I stopped. I didn't need any sound from there, I just thought it would be nice to enjoy the view for a bit. And it was nice. Sometimes it's easy to forget I live so close to such ridiculous views. For now, at least. I'm moving to Chicago with my partner in a few months, so I'm not really going to be somewhere I can come back and visit super often. I hadn't checked the weather that morning, so when I noticed how low and dark the clouds were, I figured it would be best to turn back. Believe it or not, I've had my share of experiences getting caught on a mountain in the rain, but never with hundreds of dollars worth of the school's sound equipment in my backpack, so. When I was a sophomore in high school, I went on a backpacking trip at Philmont Scout Reservation. We hiked for 11 days in the New Mexico wilderness, and it rained every single day. I remember spending the months leading up to the trip, as well as the first few days on the trail, worrying about whether or not I'd be able to finish the hike. We were traveling over 100 miles, and I'd never really done anything like that before. Eventually, I stopped worrying about whether or not I could do it and started enjoying the trip. Sure, the rain never slowed down and the hikes never got any less exhausting, but instead of worrying about the challenges I faced every day, I appreciated the views that made each day unique. It didn't get easier, but I was used to it. It had been about an hour since I started up the mountain, but traffic hadn't picked up much by the time I got back to my car. I guess everyone else remembered to check the weather before they left. It was time to go to Beasley for the shoot, but not before I ate. I decided to stop by a gas station and make myself a Philmont breakfast. We can only carry so much food at a time, and the last thing anybody wants to do before hitting the trail for the day was wash their mess kit, so breakfast would consist of beef jerky, some granola bar brand nobody had heard of before, and a Gatorade flavor pack for our water. It was about as gross as it sounds, but when I think about it, sometimes I miss it. I hadn't used Studio A in around a year and a half, so it was a little weird coming back at first. It used to feel way above my pay grade with the huge switchboard and teleprompters and all that. Of course, running the show as a producer seemed beyond my abilities at one point too. Between making sure we had all the necessary preparations and our cast and crew were on board and meeting deadlines, I was scared I would let the whole show fall apart. Before long, we had recorded all of the lines and shot all of the angles, and we were ready to go. We packed up our cameras and recorders and set the studio up like we had found it. I actually got to have a conversation with the student who's taking over Up Late as the producer next year. She's excited, but she doesn't know if she's ready. I think she'll do fine. And yeah, just like that, I was done with the show I had spent 4 years working on. It wasn't easy, but I was used to it.